Deep beneath the endless white desert of Greenland lies a secret that was never meant to be found. A city carved entirely out of ice, powered by a nuclear heart and hidden from the world for decades. This wasn't a movie set. This was Project Iceworm, a high-stakes Cold War gamble that turned a pristine glacier into a radioactive time bomb. But the ice is shifting. The world is warming, and the ghosts of the 1960s are about to resurface. In 1959, the U.S. Army approached Denmark with a proposal, a scientific research station in the Arctic. They called it Camp Century. On the surface, it was a city under the ice for scientists. But beneath the snow, the reality was much darker. 3 kilometers of tunnels were carved into the solid blue ice. It housed a hospital, a theater, and even a research lab. But the scientists were a cover. The real mission, known as Project Iceworm, was to hide 600 nuclear missiles that could reach Moscow in minutes. It was the ultimate invisible fortress. Life inside Camp Century was a surreal experience. Over 200 soldiers lived 100 feet below the surface. They had the world's first mobile nuclear reactor providing heat and light. But they were living inside a moving giant. The ice wasn't static. It groaned and shifted constantly. Soldiers reported the terrifying sound of the ice walls grinding in the middle of the night. Psychological pressure mounted. They were isolated from the sun for months, living in a glowing blue tomb where the walls were slowly closing in. By 1963, the dream began to crumble. The engineers had underestimated the power of nature. The glaciers were moving faster than predicted. Massive steel beams began to buckle like paper. The tunnels were collapsing. In a desperate move, the Army realized they couldn't win against the moving ice. In 1967, the facility was abruptly abandoned. The nuclear reactor was pulled out, but thousands of tons of toxic waste were left behind. Diesel fuel, radioactive coolant, and PCB chemicals. They assumed the ice would freeze them forever. They were wrong. For 30 years, the truth about Project Iceworm stayed buried in classified archives. The Danish government, a key NATO ally, was never told that hundreds of nuclear warheads were nearly stationed on their territory. It wasn't until 1995, after a massive leak of declassified documents, that the world learned the truth. A diplomatic firestorm erupted, exposing the lengths superpowers would go to in the name of global dominance. But while politicians argued in warm offices, the toxic secret under the Greenland ice was starting to wake up. Today, we face a crisis that the engineers of the 1960s never imagined: a warming planet. The Greenland ice sheet is melting at an unprecedented rate. Scientists now warn that by the end of the century, the radioactive graveyard of Camp Century will no longer be trapped. 200,000 liters of radioactive water and thousands of tons of carcinogenic chemicals are moving toward the ocean. What was hidden for national security has become a global environmental threat. The ice is handing us back our sins, and this time we have nowhere to hide. Project Iceworm remains a chilling reminder of human hubris. We thought we could bury our darkest secrets in the cold, but the Earth remembers. As the glaciers retreat, the truth is finally breaking through. This isn't just history, it's a warning. Thank you for joining us in the Shadow Archive. Stay tuned, because the deeper we dig, the more we find that some secrets are better left undisturbed, but we will keep digging.